Yes, the Los Angeles Lakers have acquired Russell Westbrook from the Washington Wizards. They have acquired their third star. And to acquire him, they have given up Kyle Kuzma, KCP, Montrezl Harrell, and the 2022 pick in the draft last night. They also acquired, that's 2024 second round pick and 2028 second round pick along with Russell Westbrook. But this is it. This is the Lakers essentially deciding this is our three guys we want to go into with battle next season. LeBron James, AD, Russell Westbrook. That is the three they have decided on, and that is the three they will go with moving into next season. Because it really puts them in a scenario where now they can't bring in anyone else other than with a Dennis Schroeder sign and trade. And him by himself, without Kyle Kuzma, without that 22nd overall pick, is not going to be anything significant because him by himself is not going to offer a ton of value. They don't have the money to go get DeMar DeRozan, a Kyle Lowry, a CP3, Dinwiddie, any of those guys that they've been rumored to. This is now their group. That has been decided. That is going to be the core. Russell Westbrook, AD, and LeBron James. They decide to not go with the Buddy Hield trade that was rumored at about the same time. Woj and Sams were having a fun little battle on Twitter. Woj was reporting the Buddy Hield trade, and then Shams reported the Russell Westbrook trade, and of course that is the one that has gone through. And so this puts the Lakers at a scenario where they are at about 125 million in salary next season. Like I said, they don't have any more money. But before we talk about what this means for the rest of their offseason, let's just talk about the fit of these players. And first off, the fit is concerning, right? Obviously, the fit trade was Buddy Hield. The star and better player trade was Russell Westbrook. I think that's fairly obvious to everyone. Buddy Hield would give them space in three-point shooting. Even when he's not hitting, he's just one of the best three-point shooters in the league, so teams have to respect him and stay out on him and guard him. With Russell Westbrook, you don't have to do that. He is one of the most inefficient shooters of all time, and that's not me trying to give Russell Westbrook slack. I like Russell Westbrook, and I'll give him credit where it's due, but I'm just going to speak facts and be honest, right? Russell Westbrook just isn't that efficient. Now, he is going to be in a lesser role with the Lakers, probably the most diminished role he's ever had to have with two stars around him. That's not to say that he's not going to have a lot of nights where he isn't the guy or taking 20 shots a night, but he isn't going to have to be the guy. Whether he still tries to be that is another thing, but I think it takes a lot of pressure off of LeBron. It takes a lot of pressure off of AD. Westbrook plays through a lot of injuries. He's dependable. He is always out on the court, which is going to be important for a often injury nagging AD. And a LeBron James that is getting older. His fitness isn't quite what it used to be. He has picked up a few more injuries in the last couple of years than he normally would throughout his career. And so allowing to have another star guy on this team to take a bit of the load off of AD, a bit of the load off of LeBron, let these guys rest a little bit during the regular season, I think that's very important. I think they'll figure out the fit. The three-point shooting is a concern. LeBron's not a great three-point shooter. AD last year struggled from three. Russell Westbrook has always struggled from three. So that is a concern. Again, I'm not trying to hate on these guys. I know Russell Westbrook will get some hate. I'll give credit to Russell Westbrook where it's due. He can be a good defensive player when he wants to be. His playmaking is amongst the best in the league. He's very good at driving to the rim, and his pull-up mid-range can be inconsistent, but when it's on, it's on. One of the best at finishing at the rim, very explosive. He's a talent, right? He is a talent, there's no doubt about it. It's just the fit for the three-point shooting with these guys that is a concern, and so they need to find some shooters. As far as what you're going to expect for the Lakers now moving into this offseason, it's going to be their mid-level exception, which is going to be at about $5.8 million, and bringing in guys on veteran minimums. And so they have a lot of guys to re-sign. They have some guys to bring back if they want to. KCP is someone, or not KCP, pardon me. THT is probably someone they'll look to bring back. Most notably, he is a restricted free agent. Markieff Morris they could bring back. Jared Dudley could come back. He's just kind of a locker room guy, though. Andre Drummond could come back. And McLemore could come back. Ellis Caruso could come back. And Wesley Matthews could come back. Those are the types of guys they could see themselves bringing back. I think Caruso has interest from other teams across the league, but it's possible he comes back. I think the Lakers will match pretty much whatever they have to keep THT because they're going to need him in a very important role next year, whether that is as a starter or off of the bench. Andre Drummond remains to be seen. Markieff Morris they probably look to retain. And then look for them to be interested in guys like Rudy Gay in free agency. Carmelo Anthony is very much linked to the Lakers. And so I think they're going to look to add a few more scorers in and around those core guys, a few guys who can hit some shots. And then just hope to anchor with a really good defense again. Westbrook, LeBron, AD, Marcus Gasol very well maybe their starting center as he is under contract again for next season. So they're going to hope to have a very good defense again, led by AD and Gasol in the paint, LeBron and Westbrook outside, and then THT might be your starting two. That very well might be how they line up, and that's probably how they're going to be set to line up. as far as how good this team is going to fare in the Western Conference and in the league next season, this is still one of the top teams in the league. They need to fill out some depth in free agency throughout the summer. I have no doubt that they'll be able to do that, that the Lakers are a championship contending team. They're only one season removed from a title. They'll be able to bring in some of these vets like Rudy Gay, like Carmelo Anthony, and be able to bring in and have a good bench. That's not a concern of mine. Remains to be seen what they do with Dennis Schroeder, but I don't think they'll bring him back. They're not going to be able to get much in a sign and trade with him individually, so I don't think that is much of a pylon or a token of an asset that I want to talk about too much. But I think this is still a good team. I don't think this is the Lakers are a super team. They're going to roll over everyone. They have 3 stars, but Westbrook's not in the prime of his career anymore, and that's just a fact. That's not saying he's bad by any stretch. He's still a very good player, but he's not the prime of his career. AD has injury concerns. LeBron is not at the prime of his career by any stretch anymore at age 36 now. That's just natural. Again, not a knock on LeBron. He's still a very good player and an arguably top 5 player in the league. He's just not the LeBron of 3 or 4 years ago, and that's just a fact. And so I think this Lakers team is still going to be very good. I think they're going to be very competitive. I think they're going to be one of the best teams in the Western Conference. I think they're going to push for an NBA Finals title. I don't think they're a team where you can say they're going to be in the finals if they're healthy and just lock them in. One, health is a concern, but even if you do assume health, I think there are some teams that can still give them a problem. Suns will run it back again, and I think they still have a good team. Utah, I don't think they're going to be quite there. The Clippers obviously don't have Kawhi, but Denver, healthy, with Jamal Murray back, if he can come back in time and get back in game shape before the playoffs, I think they're going to be an interesting team to look out for. And remains to be seen what some other teams will do in the Western Conference. I think there still have to be heavy favorites, or at least near the top of the favorites list to get out of the Western Conference. And then again, in the NBA Finals, if they get there, they're going to be dealing with Brooklyn, or they're going to be dealing with Milwaukee. It's going to be a tough road, but I think the Lakers have to be one of the top 3 or 4 teams on the contender favorite list going into next season. And this Russell Westbrook trade is going to be a big part of that. I think they needed a guy that can alleviate a bit of pressure from LeBron and AD, a bit more of a consistent scoring option. And I think they got that in Russell Westbrook, and I think it's a good trade. I think it gives Russell Westbrook a good chance, or I should say, definitely a hell of a better chance at getting a title, which is something that I hope Russell Westbrook can still get. He's been one of those guys who gets a lot of hate, but he's a hell of a player, a really good NBA player, someone that is just a freak of nature, freak of talent, and put up stats and numbers and performances that we've just never seen in NBA history and may never see again. He's been dependable, always on the court, even with injuries. He gets out there, he plays for the most part, especially early on in his career. And so I hope he can get a title with this Lakers group, and I hope this Lakers group can have a good year next year. I expect a good year for them, and I think they'll be amongst the best in the league. That being said, let me know your thoughts on the Los Angeles Lakers moving into next season and what you think they could do this offseason. And I will be continuing my updates on all the trades that continue on over the next couple of days throughout the weekend. I'll have all those up by the end of the day on Sunday. I'll be updating my thoughts on any other trades that come through. I'll be giving a few videos of thoughts on all the drafts action that happened. And then free agency starts Monday unofficially, and I will be continuing to give my thoughts on all of that. So if anything of that is interesting to you, be sure to leave a like down below. If you did enjoy the video, subscribe to the channel for all of those updates as we move through the off season. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.